My name is Johnny Walters. I'm the current president of the Redstone chapter of the U.S. Army Warrant Officers Association. I've been involved with the ramp builds probably for the last 4 to 5 years of the 6 that we've been doing them. And I find them to be a very satisfying project for our organization, and it fits right in with our mission of supporting the local community.
Hi, I'm Max Bennett. I'm the cutter. I'm the primary saw operator for the team. I'm also a drawer for CASA. CASA will call me up, and I will go out and draw the plans for ramps. I've been with CASA for about 6 years, volunteering with CASA.
I'm Johnny Keeter. I'm the secretary for the Warrant Officer Association chapter here. I've been building ramps with CASA and the association for 6 years. And I'm a carpenter, jack of all trades, I guess, and the provider of the tools, the CASA wagon and trailer owner.
I'm Joe Shiver. I'm also with the Army Warrant Officer Association, and I've been designated as the ramp foreman for the past 6 years. I'm the one that brought the project to the association, and so I pre-build all the ramp sections. I pick the ramps that we do, and pick up all of the supplies, bring it out to the sites.
This is the Redstone chapter of the U.S. Army Warrant Officers Association.
Okay.
And we're continually looking for projects to become involved with in our community. This has been one of our favorite projects to do. The ramp builds we've been doing, as Joe said, for approximately 6 years.
October of 2006.
Since 2006.
And it came by accident. They have the retiree appreciation day at Redstone every year, and Joe had been out setting up the table for the Warrant Officer Association and befriended Mary from CASA, and then he brought it back to us, and we 3 worked together anyway. So he just brought it back as a suggestion, and but yeah, we'll go out and try it, and we were hooked.
And in the military, of course, it's whoever brought up the project gets to lead it. So that's how I became leader.
Good job.
It is very important to have the team leader as the spark plug to keep the movement going, to keep the builds institutionalized within our organization as a monthly event that we do every month, whenever possible.
Yeah, once we decided to take the project on, after the first one, we went out with an older group that mentored us, and we realized that we had some of the skills, but not a lot of them, or the little gadgets and widgets that they had come about to do. So we started that, and then it wasn't long after that we made a commitment that as a chapter we were going to do one a month. And for the first few, we seemed a little unorganized, I would think, but then Max says, well, you know, we need to break this down into, you know, who does what. So, I mean, and not only do you have better organization that way, but you tend not to hurt somebody. Like Max is our designated cutter. Everybody knows that. Take it back to him. You know, I normally start things. Joe's the supervisor, as well as the pre-builder and the pre-painter.
When putting a team together, it's important to have, as Johnny said, to have a cutter and a carpenter and a QA. It's also important that you have at least 2 dedicated people who are going to do more than about everybody else. And they'll be your team leads, and they will have a little bit more to do. It's also important that we limit our ramp builds to 4 hours, or else you're going to burn your volunteers out. So this is not a new job. This is not a 40-hour-a-week thing. You're going to put your team together, and you're going to have them volunteering for 4 to 5 hours a week, plus breakfast if you want to meet for breakfast. But you will need a couple of the leaders who will have to do a little bit more.
I think there's a number of things. The desire to help the community, the desire to get together as a group. Not only do we build ramps, but we have fun doing it. You know, we enjoy getting together, and we start our ramps 7 o'clock, 7-ish at the Cracker Barrel on Drake. We get together and have breakfast and a little unity there, and then we go out. But it's the desire to help the community as well as the camaraderie and friendship of being together with some of your friends.
And I think also it's the people at CASA.
Yeah.
We got involved with those people, and you just can't say no to them. I mean, you know, you got Ann, you got Marcia, and now we got Tracy, you know, and everybody that we worked with, it's just like they want something, we do everything we can to get it for them.
I can tell you that this opportunity to work with CASA is a low cost, low time investment. All the materials are paid for by the United Way and CASA. There are some costs, but actually you could get those reimbursed. It's low cost, it's low effort. You do this once a month for about 4 hours with your team. They get to go home, you get to feel good about it. And frankly, if something turns into an 8 or a 10-hour thing, you don't feel good about it anymore because you've taken time away from your kids on the weekend. This is not that. This is, you get to provide your volunteers with a 4-hour block of goodness and at little or no cost.
A group of organized people to begin with that are part of a chapter of the U.S. Army Warrant Officers Association. We meet monthly anyway. We schedule our ramp builds to be the following weekend after our meeting, or with perhaps the third Saturday of every month. And that way we have the ability to put the word out to our membership and get volunteers at that time. And
we really encouraged church groups, fraternal organizations such as the Kiwanis or the Moose Lodge, or so if you're a fraternal organization or a veterans organization or a church, you already have the structure built. You do. And by the way, the pastor doesn't have to be the group leader. In this case, Johnny here is our president, but Joe is our lead. He's our foreman, and he's in charge of kind of organizing us. So this is an opportunity, especially with a church group, that the pastor doesn't have to be in charge. Find that guy who is the carpenter and the informal leader. Let him be the person kind of in charge, and then everybody else kind of knows what to do after a build or two. And as Johnny said, it's a natural fit. If you're already going to church together but you don't work together and you don't fellowship together, this gives you 4 hours of a month to do charity work, which you're supposed to be doing anyhow if you're in a veterans or a fraternal or a church organization. And so stop talking it and start doing something, which is building a ramp.
And I'll caveat that by saying establishing a date every month, if you're going to make the commitment, then everybody in your group knows that, you know, for the third Saturday of every month is a ramp build. And nobody should have a problem putting that on the calendar and just dedicate those 4 hours to it.
It's important for volunteers to know you don't have to do this, okay? It is a volunteer event. But as Johnny said, if it's the third Saturday, then put it into your life schedule.
That lived in a trailer, and her daughter was too old to help her out. She hadn't been out of that trailer in quite a few months. And we got the ramp put up. She comes rolling out. She's laughing the whole time. She's got a little electric, she's got a power chair. She comes out, she rolls down the ramp, goes all the way to her car, touches her car, comes back out. The whole time she's laughing. And she does it a couple of times. And we're just all sitting up there trying to load up our cars and stuff, but we couldn't help but, you know, we're wiping tears away from our eyes and stuff, and it was pretty cool.
That's the first time she had been out, and I guess almost a year.
Yeah, because all she could do was sit at her door. She couldn't, because she had no porch.
Part of the word about CASA, of course, is the homebound, and people don't get that. It's a word, I guess you can figure it out, but the people that the wheelchair ramps are helping the homebound. And the homebound, it is absolutely possible to live in your home for up to 5-10 years and never leaving your home because of your physical condition, as long as people keep bringing you your supplies. Limiting someone's life like that due to no fault of their own it's unfair to them because of whatever circumstances that came out. So who should take care of that? Well, the community should help someone who can't help themselves, and that's what's happened here. And the best stories we have are the people who were homebound, and for the first time in a long time they could ever get out. And especially in trailers, there's no porches on trailers typically, and they can now get out to a car and be mobile.
One of the funniest ones I can think of, and I can't remember in complete detail, but it was off of Drake Avenue. we had to put one coming out the back door of the house, and it was kind of a little sunken in area, and in it we had to bring it up to put it on the grass and then get it out. Well, and once we got on the grass, there was some stones out there that needed to be moved so we could drive it in there. We turned one of them over, and it happened to be a tombstone. So we got to thinking about,
It was carved.
maybe is somebody down there? So I think the paper got a hold of it.
Paper got a hold of it
or
and did a complete story on it.
and did a check of it, and it was actually a valid tombstone, but there had been an error on it, so they had replaced it, and these people had obtained it through, you know, rock or something, and then just put it down there. But that was one of the funny things.
We had another gentleman that sat there. He was in a wheelchair. Both legs had been amputated, and each time we put a plywood deck on, he would roll over it. He was out there the whole time that we built this thing. Each section that we completed, he was rolling down with it until we got to the very end. And he did the same thing. He kept going up and down.
So one of my favorites was whenever you think of wheelchair ramps, you think of the elderly, and it's true. A lot of what we do is for the elderly. We did one wheelchair ramp where these little girls were out playing all over the place when we were out there building, and we were joking with them and stuff. And we realized, I mean, how little they were, and Mom was out there. Then Dad was over here at Point Mallard and had dived in and broke his neck. A very young man, and we knew that he would need this ramp for a long, long time. So we called back to CASA, talked a little bit, made sure that ramp was going to last 15, 20 years instead of the typical 4 or 5 years. So it's not just what you might think, it's people who actually need this help.
There'll be some times that we can't get enough volunteers to build, so the three of us will go out, Max, Johnny, and myself will go out and we'll do sketches. Mm-hmm. So I mean, we're going to get some volunteer hours with CASA every month.
Whether it's ramp building or sketching or, you know, the other things we do, winterization. But as far as how many do we think we're going to do, I've been in CASA meetings where there's folks that's been doing this for years, and one of our big mentors, Jim Van, he's been doing it for years, so I'm thinking that I know myself I'm going to be doing it as long as I'm able to do it.
We do. There is a second person to every one of us, the primary people. So there's somebody else that steps in on the saw. There's somebody else that can connect the ramps. So yes, it's important as you're making your teams that everybody has a second person. When I say everybody, it's the three primary, the cutter, the carpenter, and the QA have a second person that can fit in. We also encourage, once again, the kids to come out and watch and learn. We don't put the kids on the saws, of course, but we absolutely put a hammer in their hand, and they're over there building just like the adults are.
We assist, or not assist, but help Boy Scout groups. If there's a troop that wants to get together and do that, or a scout that needs a badge, Eagle Scout, we'll go out and assist them, you know, show them how to do it, and then watch over them while they do it. And we've built anywhere from a 2-section ramp to a 14-section ramp. And, you know, it doesn't take a whole lot of people. I think a good number for a ramp team is about 6, maybe 7, even for your larger ones. You'll find that if you have more than that, you tend to be getting in each other's way and holding up progress instead of making progress. So the optimum ramp team size is about 5 people, 5 to 6 people.
If you put a team together, CASA is going to make sure that you're trained properly. And that's important because nobody's expecting to come out the first day and know how to build a ramp. So you're going to be paired up with another ramp building team that knows what they're doing. And then when you're released with your team, then there will usually be a member or two of the more experienced team with your team before you're eventually launched out on your own. And that'll be 2 or 3 or 4 different ramp builds. And you'll start with some easy ones and head up to the more difficult ones. So if you're thinking, I don't know how to do this, so I can't do this, you're just wrong. You will be trained, you're going to get plans, you're going to know the specifications, you're going to know what the rules are, but mostly your volunteers don't need to worry about all of that. They need to come out and have a good time on a Saturday morning and let your 2 or 3 leaders figure out and help them along the way.